Almost 1.5 years ago, the Sword and Shield era left behind a legacy and shook up the Pokemon card market in an amazing way. As you all know, the stars were the V-Stars and the VMAXs, though mostly the VMAXs. So today I'll give you my take on the 5 VMAXs I believe are the best ones to buy. First, we have the Leaf Fan VMAX. This card right now I think is massively overpriced like just about every other card in the market, but has really stayed strong among being third in Evolving Skies in value, and just really being being able to outplace the Glaceon and the Sylveon in value, which can definitely show strength, as the only real difference is that they're like all alt arts, they're just different Pokemon and different artwork. So showing that this one can do better than two other cards very, very similar to it, definitely, again, shows a lot of strength. Also has, like everything gone up. Even before the market went into a frenzy, it was still around like $20 higher up on the Glaceon and maybe 30 or 40 up on the Sylveon, keeping its strength. Now we have the Umbreon. I know a lot of you guys are like, why didn't I put this higher? So just give me a minute to explain. The problem I see with this card is its value. So you have around, it's going for $865.80. But PSA 10s are only going for around $1,300 and maybe $12 shipping, but whatever. Now, the reason is because if you got this card graded, it would cost around maybe $75 to get it graded, which would put it around, again, I'm just estimating, maybe around like 125 or something like that, for maybe 120. And the problem, and so you'd be, or not 120, 825, 820. And so that's a lot of money that you're spending to make 1.3k. And the problem I have with that is, in other words, your return would be around, I guess it would be a 1 7/8. Or not a 1 7/8, a 1 5/8. Or around a 1.625. Or 162% return, which is good. But at the same time, other cards on this list just offer you a higher return and go for a lot more compared to that. Now, in return wise. Now, just if you're a bit confused by what I just said, effectively, let's say this buying in the Moonbreon and selling it in a PSA 10 is the equivalent of me buying a $100 card, or a card that cost $100, that with grading fees included cost $100, and then I sold it for $162. That, if you scaled that up to the Moonbreon, if you scaled the price up by like 8.25 times, and you scaled the PSA 10 value by 8.25 times, you would get the Moonbreon price graded and not graded. And again, the other problem is that while it's a super easy card to sell, it doesn't necessarily guarantee a ton of profit, or it does, but like not like an incredible ton of profit, because everybody has it. All of these Pokemon dealers have it. You go to a card show and you're selling this card, you're going to be in price wars with at least like 30 vendors. Maybe a bit, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but not by a ton, maybe 10 to 20. And that alone means that you're going to, and even on eBay too, it's the same way. Everybody has it. Everybody has it in a PSA 10, so you have to, are price warring each other, meaning that you have to lower your price even more to sell it. And maybe you're not going to exactly get 1.3k, you might get less, meaning your return's going to be less. And look, again, it being a popular card is why it's on this list, but all of these other cards are popular cards I feel are slightly more underrated, not as overvalued, and go for more return-wise. Anyway, now we have the Espeon VMAX. This card, I think the only reason it outplaces Moonbreon is because even in a bull market, it's still been very underrated and can definitely be a card that people like. I mean, they do like it, and it also goes for a lot in PSA 10. it's not exactly it's not in Evolving Skies, it's in Fusion Strike, which maybe could help it a bit, considering it's the one thing people actually have to open Fusion Strike to get. Now it does contrast with the Gengar VMAX, which has done a lot better than this. But it's been a good second place so far, if you will. And it definitely goes for, I think maybe, it definitely goes for a higher PSA. It definitely goes for a higher return when graded than the Umbreon, because it goes for more in PSA 10 relative to its price and grading fees. Now, and it's still very popular. Now we have the Blaziken VMAX. This card, again, was very popular. Not as popular as the Umbreon, but again, not as many people have it, making this an easier sell, and and being able to get a lot more for this card. It also goes for a lot in a PSA 10, like all these cards, and its percentage of return is very high. I think maybe double. It might be 200%, which is definitely price plus grading fees. If the PSA 10 is double the price you would pay for it plus the grading fees, then I think that it is a good buy. That's generally my standard. Now, Gengar VMAX, like a lot of these other cards, does have an over 200% return rate, and this card again has shot up a ton, has shown real strength in the Pokemon card market, even going up when everybody else when all the other cards are going down earlier, like in September when stuff was peak dropping. It somehow remained steady and held its hand, and definitely has shown strength in terms of outplacing the Giratina, outplacing a number of other cards, including maybe even the Rayquaza. This card definitely, I was thinking of buying this card around the time it came out, but I didn't, and to this day I still regret it. Anyway, those are my take on the 5 cards I think are the best buys. Thank you so much.